Hey, guess who I have? The most spectacular, the most effervescent, who? Vidya Balan. She needs no introduction. I'm her biggest fan, and I had the good fortune of working with you on a film called No One Killed Jessica like 11 years ago.
Can you believe it's 11 years?
And I was
what
a
a time
tail
we
in
had.
your ass, literally.
No.
I was like...
But I remember what a lovely time we had.
I know.
I still remember that tough scene, where we actually rush into the hospital because we heard that Jessica's been shot. Yeah.
Because, I mean, we were always out of focus and I had to be behind you and you had to like just run in, and it was the start of the film.
Yeah. It was crazy, huh?
It was absolutely magical.
But everyone in that scene was on point, in every take. Do you remember that? Because I remember, for example, when Geeta, who played my mother in the film, she would let out this cry which was so guttural every time.
I hope she's listening.
Yeah, it would shake me to my core.
Yeah.
And we didn't say anything to each other, but I remember we hit it off beautifully.
I know.
And there was a certain something that I think there was a trust that I remember I could lean on.
Oh God,
in
that
scene.
means so much.
No, of course, I told you that even then.
A 6-time award winner, a national award, a Padma Shri, a role like Silk Smitha, which was how hard was that?
Playing Silk? I knew I could do it, Vidushi. But it's just I was
There's
waiting
one
for
particular scene that comes to memory.
Really?
You know the one I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. The one where I'm faking an orgasm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Were you faking it or were you actually in bliss?
No. I
wish you were.
I don't think I can orgasm in front of anyone.
You convinced us all that you were in bliss.
Thank you. But in front of others, and that too in front of a camera.
And an Indian audience,
an
Indian film that was seen by, let's say, 1 billion people at that point in the theatre, that big on the 70mm.
I thought were you
afraid? Were you afraid when you were in the process?
I thought it was damn cheeky. I loved the idea, because she's like, her neighbors are constantly at it, and she doesn't even have food. She's actually eating some leftover sugar in a small dabba in her kitchen, whatever, makeshift. So, her neighbors are constantly at it, night after night. And at the same time, her neighbors being a little like slimy with her, and she's irritated because she's hungry and she's having to hear this. There's no peace in the house. There's a little bit of sugar that she pops into her mouth and she gets this, there's a fire. That's what I love about her, there's a fire. Itne se shakkar ke saath, wo unko chup kara deti hai.
I know.
And I enjoyed it, but I have to tell you, we shot it twice. Because we actually did it on the first day of shoot for the film. And we shot for about 6 days. And then somehow Milan was not happy with the look. And was also not happy with something, I think something made him uncomfortable. So it's amazing, who does this anymore. But he actually took a break from shoot, went back, to the writing table, sat with Rajat Arora and revisited it and fixed a few things.
Which made it so much easier for you then to do it again? Or
that really didn't make a difference. The scene was there, but I think he changed something and the look had changed.
So it was more aesthetically built in.
It felt correct. It felt correct. So I think that was very brave of him. 6 days of shoot were canned.
And when you saw yourself in that scene as an audience looking up, was there any kind of cringe or any kind of like pride? What did you feel when you saw yourself do that?
No, I was just concerned about the multiple kisses I had.
So guys, the orgasm didn't affect her, but the kissing did. That's the powerhouse Vidya is.
No, because there was a kiss with Toshan. There was a kiss with Imran, and there's intimacy with Nasir Saab, and I'm thinking, oh, my parents are going to watch this. And I had actually forewarned them. I had this chat with them and I told them there's a lot of skin show and there's a lot of nothing else.
Lots of ideas broken and like cliches. like broken apart
Absolutely.
for this film. Yeah.
But I have to tell you, when I saw that scene didn't particularly stand out for me because it was a part of the whole. So the whole worked for me, and I just felt like,
you won the national award.
Yes,
for
I did.
it.
I did.
And that must have been just when you found out that you were getting it.
You know, and I have to tell you, the film released in December, and the national award was announced on the 8th of March.
Wow.
When I was in Dubai promoting Kahani, which was releasing on the 9th.
Lovely.
So I had that pregnant stomach on me because I promoted the film with the pregnant
Right.
stomach. I walked out for the press conference, for the Kahani press conference. As I'm walking out, I get a call from Milan.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know, why is he calling now? And anyway, I said, yeah. And he said this, and I was like,
Wait a minute.
what? So I actually literally walked into the press conference and I said, I just heard I got the national award for the Dirty Picture. So it was so special.
So special,
you know,
so special.
And I think what really it was very humbling is the fact that I got it for a film where I played what most people refer to as a who most people refer to as a semi-porn star. So you're giving me the highest acting honor for that.
For that. So look at it's almost like a dichotomy.
Yeah.
And almost endorsed by
absolutely.
the people who we don't really look up to in government offices, but I mean, it just came together.
But I think that's what the film achieved. You know, I remember when the trailer came out, a lot of people who knew me felt like, oh, you know, what is she up to?
Yeah.
But once they watched the film, I think
there was a heart to it. There was a soul to it. There was empathy for that character.
And that's Milan Luthria for you. You know,
so lucky.
And every time I talk about,
so fortunate.
And you know, also it had Ekta Kapoor was a producer, and I think she just
she's also a feisty one.
Yeah,
and
feisty, has a pulse.
Yeah,
gets the pulse of the audience, and was unapologetic. I think that also infused us with a certain energy.
Yeah.
Then the cinematographer, who's a very important film and part of any film, but particularly in this one, Bobby Singh, who's no more. He passed away a few months after the Dirty Picture released. And
sorry to hear that.
a year after the film released. And I was heartbroken because, you know,
he must have been your pal.
Yeah, he cracked dirty jokes all the time. And I would tell him, you know, what I'm doing in front of the camera is not half as dirty. But what he did was he diffused any kind stress
of
or tension.
Awkwardness or nervous energy.
You know, and he always made me feel like, and he and Milan,
like the camera was your mirror. You could be in your private room in front of your mirror doing whatever you wanted to.
I felt like that, you know. Amazing. I felt safe with Milan and Bobby there.
Is there something else that you're going to do with Milan anytime? Or
I'd love to. We haven't been able to find something to do together.
Yeah.
But inshallah someday.
I hope so. I hope so. So you've been in the industry literally since 1995, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And you started your career with television.
Yeah.
And then you made this beautiful transition to the film. And I'm sure it mustn't have been easy. You must have had we've all had our struggling moments in the industry and our breakthroughs and so on and so forth. And then from there to the OTT. And from the OTT to Instagram. And it's been like literally an uphill climb, but a very gradual one for you and a very rewarding, because you perhaps are the most successful Indian actor, female actor.
I'm very grateful.
I know.
And
that is, of course, the first thing that we always...
and you know, because this was my dream, Vidushi, to be an actor. My only dream.
And
I'm living
how old were you?
I was 11, I think.
Oh. And what made you dream?
Madhuri in Ek Do Teen. I
really?
watched that and I said, literally, मैं Madhuri Dixit बनना चाहती हूँ. You know, and I would stand in front of the mirror. I had a brown silk skirt at home, which someone had gifted my sister and she would never wear. So I'd tie it, I'd twirl it like Madhuri did, and I'd dance in front of the mirror. You had to just say, and I would start dancing. I was like that. But I was smitten.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the country. You know, but... everyone thought it was a passing fancy because everyone was in love with her. There was no big deal that there was this.
So I mean, back in the day,
I was 8. I was 8. That was 1987. I was 8. So at that time, everyone
and back in the day, it was 1 in a million.
Yeah.
Now with the OTT and with social media coming into play, the access to superstardom is not what it used to be. And everyone is everyone, and it's amazing. Do you feel like there's been a huge shift from when you turned a superstar and how you're perceived as now?
I think just by the time I entered the movies itself, I think actors were far more accessible. So, I don't think when you hear of the super stardom of Rajesh Khanna, and
that was another
Amitabh
time.
Bachchan, and even Madhuri Dixit.
Like people would just swoon and die and sacrifice arms and legs and whatever.
Kiss his car apparently.
Yeah.
Wear red lipstick and just go plonk their lips on his car. But not that kind of stardom. And also, I think with the kind of work I've done, I don't think I inspire that kind of fandom.
No. You're being too modest.
No, but I just think that I'm still... I think there's a good... there are pros and cons to it. The fact that today, therefore, it's a profession that's accessible to that many more people.
Yes.
While people have always wanted to enter it.
Right.
But I think today it's far more... I'd like to believe that it is easier to get into the movies or shows today than it was. Of course, there's a lot of competition. Right. I'm not denying that. But I'm just saying it's not something that, it's like...
It's not far removed. It's not a distant dream or
exactly. Exactly.
No, I understand
I think that having said that, the nature of stardom has changed completely. We're all putting ourselves out there all the time. You mentioned Instagram, and I've been a very reluctant one on social media.
And when you get into it, then there's no stopping. It's just it's an addiction.
No, and I was actually shooting in London for a film called Niyat with Anu Menon, who I've done Shakuntala Devi with.
Yes.
And I had a lot of free time one day in a beautiful location, and I said, okay, let's do something. And I have to say, I have a very pushy manager.
Yeah, good.
Aditi.
Yes.
So she would actually nudge me very... She'd say, kuch try kare kya? Kuch try. And I'd be like, sometimes just to get her off my back, I'd be like, okay, let's do it.
Swaroop, you're listening, right?
But I actually started enjoying it. And I think suddenly everyone's commenting on my Instagram. And so far, they've only ever commented on my work. So I'm saying, okay.
And you're funny. And there's a whole side of you, like this comic, like how Sridevi was when she was very serious and she did those very good, powerful roles. And then she was like such a light heart, and would make so many...
I love Sridevi. So just the fact that you took...
You remind me of Sridevi in your reels.
Oh, thank you.
Just that sweetness and that innocence with which people used to laugh with her, not at her, but laugh with her. And that's the energy you have.
Oh, thank you.
Now, let's get into this whole acting business, right? And since we have that in common, and I've had the good fortune of sharing a movie set with you, which I will never, ever forget. But I want to talk about tools. I mean, just in terms of is there a method that you're inspired by? Is there something, any kind of coach that you have worked with in the past, or have you looked at anyone's videos, or have you read anything about acting? Because I know you're a non-trained actor and you come from instinct and gut, and a lot of that we can see in your performances. But is there any kind of specific tooling that goes into your craft?
Not really, but I think I've developed a certain process over time because I am an untrained actor.
Right.
So I don't know what to fall back on. I didn't ever know what to fall back on. So, and I think my understanding of acting has evolved.
Yes.
Over the years.
From one project to the next, you feel like that has been your learning.
Yeah, and I've had the good fortune of working with directors who really pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Right.
So, and scripts that have really given me an opportunity.
To show yourself.
Yeah, and to just discover a certain side to me.
Right.
Like I remember when I did Jessica, that was the first time I didn't really have to speak too much.
Right.
She was
a very reticent, silent role for you. And
that was
all very inward for you.
Yeah, that was tough.
I would just be sitting and watching you. I was literally, like I said, your pooch on set. I was so close to you. And
but our scenes were also together.
I could hear you breathe. I could hear you. I remember Sharaka would put your hair all neatly in a bun, and you would just come out and I should take a hair out of her bun and dirty your shirt. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you doing this, Vidya? And she said, because it has to look believable. I'm running a whole street.
Yeah.
From there to here, there's mitti, there's this. I said, yeah, of course, So even for me, then, it was difficult for me to piece reality in film because I was like, you always have a take to reset, But you were in continuity, even between your shots. You lived that character for a long time.
Yeah, but it's a big joy for me. It's a thrill when I'm even able to feel the truth in any moment. When I don't realize it, you realize that you've experienced the truth only later.
Yes.
Because when you actually lose yourself in that moment, you lose yourself.
I know.
And it's such joy. But I've realized that there has to be a method to the madness. For example,
because you can be very indulgent. And you can lose perspective as
and
the
finally
actor.
It's acting.
Yeah. It is. At the end of the day.
Is.
You're not the person.
Exactly.
So that's 6 degrees of separation.
Absolutely.
And yet letting the audience believe you are.
Yeah.
That's where I think great acting comes into play.
Yeah, and it's so important not to just lose yourself in that.
Yes.
In trying to... there is, I think, a very fine balance between, getting to the truth of it.
Yeah.
And at the same time having... For example, I have to hit a mark when I
and the light,
and you have to catch the light,
visual, and
continuity, and you may do one thing in one take, and then you're stuck with, physical continuity, continuity of whatever, movement,
right?
And you can't say that no, but I'm so involved in my performance that I can't. These things I've learned over the years.
You've actually spent more time on a set and letting
but
certain systems fail because you've been so indulgent in your role.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And time is money on a set.
Yeah, absolutely.
Technicality and the camera's rolling and rolling and rolling, and for every little bit it rolls as so much money.
I don't have the patience for anyone who doesn't do their homework, and I just feel that you're wasting precious money.
Absolutely right.
Time and
incompetence.
Energy. Yeah, all of that. But I think I've not arrived anywhere really. It's constantly, I think,
you're
fluid
discovering.
And, I'm discovering constantly.
You're naturally following a path that's leading you in unknown directions, and then you're in love with those unknown directions.
Yeah, exactly.
It clearly is that.
And when you read a script, you get a sense of the person. Then I sit with the director.
Yes.
And understand not just the person that I'm going to be playing, but also not just the character I'm going to be playing, but also the overall world. You know, also enough about the other characters.
Inner world, outer world.
Yeah, everything, and I haven't really read anything. I haven't watched any master classes. I know these days a lot of people tell me they're watching master class. I actually downloaded the app. I wasted 13,000 rupees because I didn't watch a single master class. I don't have the patience for any of that. But I just think when you understand people, I think anyone can act.
You believe that?
I think anyone can act.
That's so good to hear, because I believe that. I come from that same thought process where over the years of having worked on stage since I was 6 years old, and then being exposed to film in the capacity that I have, it's been people. It's a people's business. So you interact with actors on set, you're interacting with people behind the scenes, in front of the camera. It's just always people. And if you have a good sense of, yourself, I think you need to first know yourself really well. Before you can start understanding characters, you must know the depth of your emotion, your inner world, your internalization to things that don't work out for you. How much of you do you put into your characters?
I think it's unavoidable.
It is unavoidable.
Because, it's just one me playing different people.
Yeah.
I, of course, like to believe that I'm living that person's life for the period that I'm...
On set.
On set when I'm doing a film.
And is that gripping you? Does that grip you? Could that become a problem at sometimes?
No, not really. I think initially, yes, because I couldn't draw, for example. After every film, I would fall sick, invariably. It would be because, I had...
Psychosomatic. You just take in the energy and not know how to let it go.
Especially, for example, you do an intense scene and then you don't know how to just disconnect. How to create a distance between your work and you. I remember when I fell sick during the Dirty Picture, Nasir Saab told me. He said, only if you're in good health can you continue to do what you're doing.
Correct.
Health first before everything else. So sometimes because at that time you feel like, oh, I'm doing something.
Yeah, and you're young.
Yeah,
then, you have
and
that
you're-
fire in your belly, and then you can be like working nights and days.
Oh,
and
yes,
endlessly.
absolutely.
And you must have had that time back in the day because you were shooting nonstop, and there was film after film after film after film.
And the dirty picture
And the dirty
was
picture.
shot like,
How long?
Milan is
How long was
very
the shooting
spontaneous
schedule?
director. We shot, I believe, for 84 days.
Yeah.
Shalaka, my hairdresser for years
Yes,
now, was
yes.
just telling me that the other day. So, but I think more importantly, it was so intense. And, there was so many upheavals, emotional upheavals within the story
Right.
that I didn't know how to. And then I was smoking. And then,
Yeah.
at one time she was being this siren. And then at
Yes.
another time she was
A
crumbling.
very-
It was all happening at the same
Yeah.
time.
Distraught woman
Yeah,
and
yeah.
glamour and distraught.
And I felt sick, but that's when I realized that I need to create a distance between what I do. Today I'm able
How
to.
did you do that? What was that?
See, first of all, to realize that this is not otherworldly or anything.
Yeah.
It's a job.
It is a job. And
So,
for you, it's as authentic a job as somebody taking
Yeah,
milk to a home in the morning at 6 a.m. It's like that's how we think.
Yeah.
But for the world, they think it's just something
and I
so
think-
glamorous and so unachievable and so
No, but
relentless
I think,
in a way.
I think it also happens with age and experience and maturity that you realize that I think my only focus at this point is to be present every moment.
Lovely.
So on set, I want to be present, but when I'm not on set,
Then you're
I'm
living
being
your
present as
personal
Vidya.
life. Yes.
That's what's helped me. Today I'm in, touch wood, I don't fall sick. I still need a lot of time away from people because, I'm just...
Because, you're always around people.
Surrounded by people on a
Yeah.
set, right? So I need that physical distance, emotional distance, everything. But besides that, I just think that training, when you start telling yourself, when you start breathing and saying, okay, this is me. That was a job. I've done all that I could there.
Now you're back in
I'm
your
being
safe
Vidya.
space. You're able to, be yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
In any capacity. So coming back to the tools, like, what is the weightage you'd give, let's say, to your text, for instance, vis-a-vis what you're going to put into the text? So just the lines give you enough, you feel? Or do you sometimes have to find the subtext and the hidden agenda?
So,
And how do you work with your subtext?
So I actually sit and work with the director for a month before we start shoot.
Okay.
Which is when I ask my questions, which is when I'm discovering subtext, which is when I'm sometimes infusing subtext.
Right.
Also trying to understand the lines in a way where I feel, a writer has put in a lot of work.
Absolutely.
To get the script to the
level
state that it's in.
Yes.
Right? So, and I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of people who say, I just improvise lines. I feel that I personalize it, yes. So at that stage,
and you're
I'm
honoring somebody else's writing.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to do that
and
for that person.
At that stage of prep, if I feel uncomfortable with something, I'll bring it up with the director and see how we could maybe say it in a different way, or maybe if it's not sounding correct. All of that happens during the preparatory stage. But I'm someone who likes to stick to the lines, but I will personalize it as the character that I'm playing.
Yes.
Sometimes I need help with that, because I speak a certain way and not every character speaks like me.
Agreed.
So, which is why also that I sit with the director, sometimes also with the writer.
Yes.
To understand
nice,
that. Yeah.
Nice.
For example, in Tumhari Sulu, she spoke in a very, there was a certain casualness to which she spoke. There was a certain Bambaiya-ness, and I'm
and you had to practice that. I think there was a rehearsal involved.
Yeah,
for you
there was.
To get that going for yourself.
Yeah, so I sat with Suresh Triveni and Vijay Maurya, who's the writer, the dialogue writer. So I sat with both of them, and we figured her style of speaking, and then how I had to chew up the last.
At the end of the day, the actor also has to rely on a lot of resources that are given to her. The director, the writer.
Most definitely.
But how much do you bring of your own to the table?
I think that's what I'm saying, that is unavoidable.
That is unavoidable.
And
so,
to what extent, I think, someone had asked me a question about biopics and said, don't you think that, the person, for example, this actor didn't look like the character
Right.
he was playing? And I think that's...
And now the whole trend has changed. They're casting people like
Yeah.
the real
No,
people
but my
in,
point is
in
that...
life.
My point is that we're actors.
Yeah.
My job is... I don't have to look like the character.
Absolutely.
As long as I'm still able to convince
and you're
you
able
that
to
I am...
convince the audience doesn't want that either.
Yeah,
the audience
like-
knows it's Vidya Balan playing an X character.
I'm not going to be living through every experience
Right.
that I play on screen.
Right.
So I'm not going to be... for example, I'm not Silk.
Yeah.
But I played Silk.
Yes.
Tomorrow you're going to say that, only someone who's done these kind of films or
Yeah.
is from...
The method,
but there
just
is
being...
give us some credit for being actors, for God's sake.
Creative.
It is called acting.
Yes.
You're not that person.
Yes. I'm
as
so
much
glad.
as we're trying to be,
Yes.
it is acting at the end of the day.
Agreed. And it has to also be dealt with in a certain light-hearted manner. It has to be joyful for the actor.
No,
also.
absolutely. And I think
And
this
not
is-
always painful.
and I think this wokeness is a bit exhausting. I don't get it. I think it's pointless.
Yes.
And it's people just trying to say that, certain opportunities are rightfully ours.
Yes.
And like depriving actors of
I know.
the opportunities that are rightfully theirs because they're actors.
Exactly. Now, when you... Going back into the character and this whole business of wanting to be as close to the character, but knowing in your head you're not that person. The text becomes integral. I would imagine the first step for you. And do you immediately, when you've read the whole script, and you will take your time reading it, I'm sure, in parts, and you will also sort of like go back and read maybe something. But when you've come to the end of the script, do you immediately come to an outcome? Or like an outcome to play her in your mind, or does it forever keep changing?
No,
and sometimes you think about something and then you go on set and you've like an epiphany happens.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh God. I mean, I've been living with the script for so long, and suddenly like I shouldn't be playing her like this. It'll be so obvious.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you?
A lot, but I am someone who doesn't arrive at an outcome when I read a script.
That's excellent.
I
to
wait
hear.
for it to just happen, which is why I like to sit with the director to understand, because I think then it naturally flows from there.
Nice.
See, because like I said, I'm not a trained actor, right? So I don't know how to get to that point immediately.
To the truth without knowing the caveats involved, or other people's perspectives.
Not just truth. I think we're so quick to judge people. Similarly, we're so quick to arrive at a certain... So I try to avoid that.
That's the essence of my toolbox.
Yeah.
I'm constantly telling students, we have to do what we do in our real lives.
Yeah.
If we don't like being judged, we can't judge others in our real life. Similarly, in real life, if we suddenly start saying this character is bad and I have to bring out my most negative side for this character, it becomes so synthetic. It's not a fulfilling process for the actor or the justice that you're doing to the character. Because the character is also a living being. And it's the actor's responsibility to bring life to the character.
There are some characters that you will... that will resonate with you more easily, or that you will identify with
because
more
of
easily.
your similarities.
And sometimes not. So, but you have to also, when you're able to, find that similarity or that familiarity with the person more easily, I think you should still give it time.
Yes.
Like, I give it time because I feel that maybe this is the most convenient. This is the easiest, starting point.
It's simplest.
But maybe I should maybe 10 days later, I'll still be here.
Yeah.
Maybe I've gotten to the core of it. But at least I've given it that time.
And that perspective of distance and time.
Yeah. And it's not like I'm obsessing over it. I read it. Yeah. I discuss it with the director. Sometimes we're discussing the film and the character. Sometimes we're not, but that's also important for the equation with the director.
Lovely.
So it's just, with me, it's really fluid. I don't like anything etched in stone. I don't like any rules. I don't like any...
I remember that about you and your conversations with, Rajkumar Gupta on Jessica. What about like breath work? How important is because without breath, there is no life. And similarly, if you don't know how to breathe like the character, because your breath work, my breath work, we all have our own way to breathe through life, through our difficulties, through our struggles. For the character especially, what allows you to breathe for the character?
I think again, I'll come back to the fact that because it's not something that my attention was drawn to early on, I wasn't even aware of how my breath was impacting my performances. It's only lately that I've begun to observe.
And do you believe it's like the most important thing?
I think it is.
Yeah.
It is. But, I think feeling is probably the most important thing.
But it's all conjoined, right?
Because,
it's the
your
thought,
breath
it's the
also flows from
with the
feeling.
way the thought is and how you're thinking.
So I don't think it's the most important thing, but it's definitely
integral to the process.
I've started observing my breath fluctuations in my breath, the ups and downs now.
Nice.
And but I don't manipulate it. I know that there is a certain school that suggests that you can control your performance through your breath.
Yes.
And I don't know how that's done.
No, it really isn't that. It's essentially just knowing how to give a scene your full breath.
Right.
So essentially, if we were all shallow breathing from the chest, we would now start breathing from the diaphragm and from the insides of your belly, so that the voice is clearer. There's more projection, there's resonance, there's depth. And you have the most beautiful voice in any case. There's no shrillness. It's so even toned. So clearly you're doing your breath work. Clearly.
But it's also, I think this realization has also come through yoga.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing yoga for many years.
That's a back-end tool.
Yeah. It's actually for clarity, better health and all of that. And suddenly you realize how, this is actually part of what I do.
Exactly. And it just sort of flows through. Last few. Do you believe every actor has a shelf life? And as we grow older, what kind of roles could you be thinking of now for yourself? Is there something somebody who you really like to play now?
No, I don't think. I don't think
a biopic.
I don't think I have the imagination. A fertile enough imagination to think of the kind of characters I'd want to play.
Right.
But I think we have great writers, and I only hope that
they find you.
They exactly. They write for me as they have for the past few years. So I'm very grateful about that. But I think I don't believe that there's a shelf life for actors. I think as long as you're alive, you can be
anything you want.
Yeah, just anything.
And acting is life in a way.
Acting is it's just a response.
It is.
So as long as you're going to be responding to life, you can be acting. And now I don't know the kind of roles.
Taking my breath away by saying that. You're just taking my breath away. Okay, now supposing if you had to orchestrate a toolbox for a young actor who wants to be in all kinds of acting, what would be those 3 or 4 essential tools from your personal experience you would put into a box and give them as a gift?
One, just keep yourself open to all kinds of
possibilities,
experiences. Watch, just don't see.
Yeah.
Listen, just don't hear.
Nice, so nice.
Feel, and just read, watch films, watch theatre.
Be open, just receive.
Every experience. Sometimes if you're sitting in the train or on a bus, I'm a very curious person.
Yes.
Almost to the point where I could be eavesdropping on a conversation.
And you could use that somewhere.
Yeah, unknowingly. But because I'm so curious.
Yeah. That's what I think sets you apart, Vidya.
I don't know, but I'm just interested in people.
You're just this child, this little baby girl in you, and you're always wandering, and there's this wanderlust in you for everything in life.
Yeah, and I think this is a profession where all of that comes together. You get an opportunity to. There is that. For example, I have very strong likes and dislikes, but I'm open to. I try and keep myself open to everything. As you grow older, I think sometimes it becomes difficult.
Yes.
I'm saying, no, I don't like this. I don't want to do it. And then I'm telling myself, no, but Just
You have to keep that
give it
gate open.
Give it a try. Yeah, give it a try. That's how even Instagram happened to me.
I know.
So I said, okay, give it a try. You don't like it, don't do it. There's no one holding a gun to your head.
Yeah, and it's not necessary.
Yeah,
either.
but I like conversations with people. I think, that's the biggest, life is the biggest training ground for an actor.
Yes.
And this was told to me by Shubir, who's a very celebrated ad filmmaker. This partnership between Nomita and Shubir, they've owned White Light,
Right.
this production
Yes.
house, ad film production house for years, and I was doing an ad film with him. And the shot was about lighting a diya. And he kept saying, no, you're not doing it right. And I was like, it's
just lighting a
can
diya.
I abuse? But I was like, it's
Of course you can.
lighting a diya.
This is our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
So I was like, what is a big deal? And he said, because you're not feeling the anticipation of your husband who's coming back from the army after a year. I cannot
That
feel
excitement.
that in your hand. And I did the shot, but that film changed the way I looked at acting. I was all of 19. I was playing mother to an 8-year-old, and it was damn tough because I didn't know
Anything about motherhood or just like 19, who knows anything about anything anyway?
Exactly. And it just changed the way I looked at acting. For that, I'll forever be grateful to him. But that's what I'm saying, So it's not about speaking like a certain actor, or it's not what is the correct intonation for this line. I feel that all that is it's about
All
this will
inside
guide
of you.
everything.
Yes. And your connections and your empathy.
Yeah. And it's very difficult to,
It is.
actually to just flow, to just respond. And I think I'm always trying to, as an actor, I think, trying to get there. You get there sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
But
And
that's okay,
fine.
Yeah.
Do you feel like kindness is really required for acting?
I think to oneself, most importantly.
Thank you. Now we have like these, I'm not going to do a Karan Johar on you, but we have some very sensible 5 rapid fire questions. And I can't give you what Karan Johar gives at the end of his show, but I do have a very lovely curated hamper as well.
Oh my God.
Which you'll have to open up with a lot of enthusiasm.
Yes.
And so who wants to go first, guys?
Go. Should I be looking at her?
Yeah. Just feel free.
I'm Shruti here.
Hi.
So, is there any role that you have rejected and regretted later?
Not one, honestly.
Seriously, no one.
Either the films that I said no to didn't do well.
Yes.
And most importantly, because they didn't turn out to be good films, or the actors who played those roles did them so well that it left no scope for me to imagine myself in that.
Lovely. Well, very well asked and very well answered.
So, mine is a similar one, just vice versa. Have you ever accepted a role and got regretted over it?
Accepted
some
a role. and
experiences, not so much the role, but more importantly, the experience. Because I think for us, when I watch a film, I'm thinking of all that happened behind the scenes, what happened during that scene and all that. And sometimes the experience just leaves you feeling, and then even if the film turns out well,
it becomes a personal skating experience for you.
For me, it's
you can't name the film.
No, I won't say scathing.
You'll tell me later in my
Yeah, I will. But it's just, you just feel like it could have been a lot more easy and a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Hi, ma'am. Siddhi.
Hi, Siddhi.
It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you.
So, my question is what's your one thought you have when you leave your vanity van and you go to the shoot? What's your thought or that one thing you have?
I'm trying not to think about anything else. I'm trying not to think about, for example, if I'm shooting outdoors, I finish all my calls before I step out of the van for my shot. Because I don't like any distractions. I'm not someone who likes visitors on set. Because it's like I'm not coming to your office and sitting.
Yeah. So reciprocal.
Yeah,
Think of it like that.
It's like a lot of people say, but what is it? And I always say, but imagine if someone came to your office and sat there and watched you all day. It's then you'll feel compelled to ask chai chahiye, coffee chahiye. So I don't want all those distractions. Sometimes, of course, they are there. But importantly, I think my only thing is to drone out all the noise. You know,
Just to
so
sort of
that-
like get
Yeah.
all your energies back to the job,
Yeah.
to the job at hand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely questions.
Thank you.
Swaroop.
Yeah.
Mine is a little personal. You can choose to not answer.
Yeah.
Feel like. So, ma'am, you in your life you've been in so many roles, right? You've handled so much success. You've handled a lot of ups and downs in your life. You've seen everything, and you know it's very usual that we get hurt in different instances. Sometimes family, sometimes work, sometimes expectations don't matter. So, how do you tackle all of this?
Oh, lovely question.
You know, Tom, and sometimes you know you carry such a beautiful smile.
Oh, thank
all
you.
throughout, and it's a dream to just be smiling.
Right now, you could be giving her competition with your smile. You see,
Yeah.
like this little
I was just
innocent
gonna say,
baby.
you've got a wonderful smile.
Thanks. Yeah, how do you deal with this if you feel hurt?
Yeah, you know,
Aw.
I talk about it.
Nice.
I talk about whatever I'm feeling, however tough it is. Na? For example, there could be stuff with family, with Siddharth, with my team, with sometimes it happens where there's more than one human being, there is bound to be some
Yeah.
friction. But I talk about it. And sometimes I need time to figure out how to bring it up. But however tough the conversation, I have that conversation. And sometimes I cry, sometimes I sulk, sometimes I...
So cute.
You have to, yeah. You know, but I also work with a healer.
Nice.
Especially, for the past 11 years, I've been working with a healer. And I do sessions with her from wherever I am in the world over the phone. And it's almost like therapy.
Amazing.
But it is energy medicine where, you know, she's given me various tools over the years to change the way, for example, I'm looking at a particular situation or the way I'm feeling. And just, you know, I've become kinder to myself over the years. All of this has helped me. I think because you're being judged. So,
all the time.
all the time, you know,
yeah.
as when you're in the movies. These days, everyone is being judged all the time, you know. So I just think that's my safe space where I can just say whatever I want, do whatever I want. Sometimes also when you say it aloud, you know, it gives you perspective on how minuscule or ridiculous what is bothering you is.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and that gives you perspective and makes you feel like it's okay, yeah.
So wonderful. So wonderful.
No, my
Thank
pleasure.
you, Vidya. This
Thank
was
you.
just the most lovely, the most gratifying, the warmest interaction I've had. And I'm reliving, as you were speaking and radiating your beauty, as you always do, all those wonderful little knick-knack memories from our
Yeah,
set
but
are coming
I have
alive.
to tell you that the moment I saw you, I was like, firstly, you look the same over the past 11 years.
I've got glasses now. I'm a blind bat. I can barely read like big font stuff. So my
Thankfully,
eyes.
you're not asking me
Did
to
you?
read.
Were you healthy through COVID? And like, did you get
Thankfully,
sick? Or?
I got COVID last year, but
Oh.
it was fine otherwise. And it was a very mild one. But I was also
Thankfully.
thinking of our shoot.
I know,
You know,
it's just
yeah.
you relive something
Yeah.
with somebody.
But I enjoyed this chat, so thank you.
I want to give you a huggy. Thank you so much. Lots of love. And we've got this something.
Yeah,
Just a
sure.
track. And Vidya, there's a little something special for
My
you
God,
from
it's-
Shantanu and Nikhil.
Oh, thank you.
And I think the boys, the brothers, would love for you to open it.
Yes,
And
firstly, it's a beautiful box. But
only if you can open it. Mystery box. So I think it's
Sorry.
like you have to just lift it like a clutch.
Okay,
Okay, I'm gonna. Yeah, there you go.
Wow. That is so gorgeous. I love the color.
Yeah.
Thank
Stunning
you.
on you.
Thank you. And there are more goodies. Arre wow.
Ah, kya baat hai? You want to
Allah.
splash and spray? What do you think? Yeah? You like it? Yeah.
And I love perfumes and I love saris. So thank you.
I think they're going to be delighted that you do.
Thank you.
So I'm going to put this back
Here.
in.
They can.
And this was absolutely delightful, guys. I can't be more grateful than having Vidya herself come and grace my toolbox. And till I catch you again. Bye.
Bye.